Chris Linneman was always an active person. That is until he tore a major ligament in his knee playing basketball. Hot to the touch, bright red and swollen to the size of a melon. After surgery, you could say his knee was feeling kind of strange. This was the beginning of his fight with a deadly, now antibiotic-resistant bacteria known as staphylococcal, or staph. Following 4 surgeries and several failed antibiotic treatments, getting better nearly cost him his life. And $300,000 in medical bills. Once easy-to-treat bacterial infections have now evolved into antibiotic-resistant bacteria and are growing stronger and more widespread by the minute. Thankfully, scientists believe there is finally hope on the horizon. Today, we are ready to fight back with the help of bacteriophages, which are weaponized viruses that kill deadly bacteria. You heard that right. Weaponized viruses that kill deadly bacteria. The Guardian, January 19th, 2022, encloses that new data reveals the true scale of antimicrobial resistance worldwide and are a clear signal that we must act now to combat the threat. First, we'll diagnose the motivation behind the use of bacteriophages. Second, we'll get infected with the process of bacteriophage therapy. And third, we'll immunize the implications and go viral over a future with weaponized viruses. After a lifelong battle with cystic fibrosis, antibiotics S1Ds have been prescribed since childhood were no longer effective. His doctors recommended he get a double lung transplant. But there is a better way: weaponizing viruses to kill bacteria. Before we're consumed by bacteriophages, we must first look at how scientists were motivated to find a solution to resistant bacteria by 1. Analyzing the overuse of antibiotics, and 2. Their negative effects. While antibiotics are necessary, they are being fiercely overused. NPR January 20th, 2022 exposes that antibiotics are often readily available to anyone, even without a prescription. Misuse and overuse of these drugs fuels mutations in bacteria, leading to more resistance. NPR continues as Dr. Fiorello-Crafts worries that antibiotic-resistant infections are everywhere. She says we're seeing it with infections that used to be very simple to treat, like urinary infections. Similarly, minor wounds in the past that may have only needed a bandage are turning into multi-drug resistant infections. Antibiotic-resistant infections are becoming a massive problem worldwide, with rising risk factors and mortality rates. Stat News, October 29th, 2021, recounts Natalie Ma's personal story about her month-long struggle with a UTI turned antibiotic-resistant infection. After being prescribed a mix of antibiotics, she was faced with several side effects such as vomiting and anaphylactic shock. She landed herself in the emergency room. While she recovered, many aren't so fortunate, as tens of thousands of people are dying from antibiotic-resistant infections, and the death toll is on par with car crashes. CNBC January 20th, 2022 informs researchers estimated that antibiotic-resistant bacterial infections played some role in approximately 5 million deaths in the past year. This new bacterial epidemic of resistant infections has only grown more and more serious as time goes on, and the numbers and deaths continue to go unacknowledged. Esteban Diaz cleared up his life-threatening antibiotic-resistant infections within days using a profound process called phage therapy. Bacteriophages are complex life forms that 1. Exist abundantly in nature, 2. Can be weaponized against superbacteria, and 3. Are a treatment with promising results. Bacteriophages were discovered over a century ago, and their primary role is to naturally stop us from succumbing to terminal illness by eating drug-resistant bacteria. Stat Pearl, September 28th, 2021, explains that bacteriophages replicate only in bacterial cells and are ubiquitous in the environment. They are recognized as the most abundant biological agent on Earth and are extremely diverse. iScience records April 23rd, 2021, that bacteriophages make up the largest living population of particles on the entire planet. Phages can be manipulated and hardwired to fight off different bacteria and are able to be applied in different ways. North Carolina State University, February 14, 2022, enlightens that scientists can tweak the genes of phages before they are introduced to the bad bacterial cells. Signals from their altered genes, usually triggered by sugars, give the command to exploit and overthrow or kill on sight. Dove Press Infection and Drug Resistance, January 20th, 2021, writes, there are 2 types of phages, the lysogenic phage and the lytic phage. The lysogenic phage merges with the bad bacteria to overtake it. Meanwhile, the lytic phage injects itself within the bad bacteria to destroy it. Bacteriophages have shown great success and progress fighting against multiple diseases, infections, and the spread of bacteria. MDPI viruses, January 13, 2021, addresses one of the many successful trials of phages against pneumonia, writing that among 7 of their studies that evaluated this use of therapy, all 7 showed the effectiveness of bacteriophages with a remarkable reduction in bacterial cell population. Cystic Fibrosis News Today, February 4th, 2021, released a patient case of a 12-year-old boy who, after getting a double lung transplant, fell victim to an antibiotic-resistant bacterial infection in his lungs. He was discharged from the hospital after being put on a treatment of weaponized viruses, bacteriophages, that kill super deadly bacteria, and slowly, the boy's condition began to improve. They write, despite initial persisting airway colonization, the final outcome of the boy's clinical status was rewarding. Esteban Diaz dealt with persistent fatigue, relentless coughing, and breathlessness that plagued him for decades. Let's discuss the future of bacteriophages through 1, the challenges threatening its process, and 2, if these challenges are overcome, the conceivable benefits of these weaponized bacteria-eating superviruses. While the treatment holds a lot of promise, it's a slow process to getting it to be globally accessible. Frontiers in Pharmacology, June 10th, 2021, explains that phages are widely used in Eastern European countries, such as Georgia, Poland, and Russia. Obviously, we won't be going there for treatment anytime soon. However, the National Institute of Health, March 11, 2021, reports there have been grants awarded to 12 institutes by them to help support phage therapy research so we can evolve the weaponization of these viruses. And still, very few clinics offer phage therapy to treat diseases and refuse to help fund their development. On that note, if bacteriophage therapy does become more accessible, its benefits may change the world. According to the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, March 29, 2021, bacteriophages have unique potential in vaccine development due to their immunity, genetic resilience, stability, and cost-effectiveness for large-scale production, and have been proven safe for human use. Therefore, they make the perfect candidate to go head-to-head against COVID-19. Cellular and Infection Microbiology, journaled May 31st, 2021, phage-related proteins are going to be the next blockbuster in the world of infectious bacterial diseases. They might even outclass their benefactors. One can fully expect them to be legally recognized as biologicals in the near future. First, we found out that many are suffering and will continue to suffer because of the overuse and negative effects of antibiotics. Second, that bacteriophages exist abundantly and are able to be weaponized to kill deadly bacteria. And third, we covered that the challenges to this treatment are its limited accessibility, and its benefits are bacteria-eating, disease-fighting super weapons within reach. We realized that the weaponized virus treatment bacteriophages are an option that can solve the looming threat of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Although COVID-19 has, for obvious reasons, given viruses a bad rep, maybe what they say is true. The enemy of our enemy is truly our friend.